Mr. McTaggart. First item on the of the day is to approve the agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor to approve the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There is no public today. The next item of business is the IT budget for 2019. At this time also, I would like to introduce Mr. Tabor. Is that correct?
That's correct, as of today.
He's joining us from area-wide. He can assist us through some of these conversations if we have any questions or issues. So, with the IT budget, you will find last year's and a copy of last year's with the right-hand column blank. That's what we need to work on for the next few minutes. And I think after that, then we'll jump into some of this. Any questions on these? Okay. And then this particular report is where we are as of today. This isn't the same sheet here.
No, this is this year's budget worksheet. This was last year's budget with all of the notes and such that she noted what the expenses were for. So this is the 2019 budget. This is the 2018 budget.
Okay. So we just need to fill in these as it pertains to those?
Yes.
This one we don't. Gotcha.
Right.
So on the worksheet,
I don't think we need to worry about like the transfers necessarily, but for those departments.
Troy, we're working on the expense side, aren't we?
This is all.
You might see an expense side here somewhere.
No, this is revenue.
The systems expense on the bottom here.
So that's the only one we need to.
Wait.
Yes.
What am I looking at?
The systems expense, and then here,
This?
right here, 60350.
That's the only one that's an expense. So as
Total expenses in this year's budget was $254,000, and so.
This is finance and IT.
Oh, that's a combination.
Correct.
Okay, so we need to narrow this down.
I mean, if you look at the
Okay.
the 2018, well, the history's on both.
IT, all IT.
13, 14. So, line 60350, here it says 142,000, but if you look at that line historically, in 2014 it was 12,858. The numbers are matching. Must be something else combined in there.
We had 15,000 budgeted for systems expense last year.
Correct. The 2 years before 0. 17 was 0, 6. Then we went over. That's actual.
And that is to cover, as it says down here, 2 computers in the finance department, 7 computers in assessment, and then $1,500 is for miscellaneous other. So maybe we need to focus on these funds down here.
Well, the other thing we need is there's a life expectancy or a life cycle chart on the computer, so we can see how many are up this year.
Yep, that is, we have a number of them. This is old, but at a certain point there's 83 systems that were coming to be non-supported in 2020. So 83 at some point. I'd have to check that because we have been replacing systems since that number was reported. Like state's attorney already replaced.
Yeah, so that's
theirs.
done.
So that's 5
Finance
less.
is 2. The state's attorney assessment was 7.
And assessment was 7.
7, 5, 12. That's 14 off of there.
Yeah. So we need to get that total of 83 before the recent upgrades down to 0 by 2020. So a total of 83 machines over 2 years. That's already started.
So we need to do 83 more machines in 2 years.
Or let's say 70. Because we've got
70 and 3. I'm going for 3, so 20. Wow.
Now, public health, we've done 1, but they have a total of 15 systems. County clerk has 10 to 15.
How much do we need to allot for these stations? In the past we did 1,500. Is that?
It depends on the station.
I mean, the laptop versus a desktop is
exactly. Laptops are
difference.
more expensive. Workstations roughly are 900. Laptops 1,500. That's very rough numbers. And that doesn't include the labor to help set them up.
My vote's 20,000 a year over the next 3 years. So I would plug that number at 20 this year.
And the goal is, if possible, to replace a number of machines every year so that there's not a big bulk of them that need replaced a certain year, like we're seeing here in 2020.
Committee's input. I mean, the reason I say that is we kind of slacked off there's been some replaced recently, but if you look at the trend, we really cut back in 16, 17 and started updating again.
Did you say assessment did replace them? I think they're still pending.
Those are pending?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they have yet.
Well, it's been budgeted.
It's budgeted.
It's been budgeted.
Yeah,
Right.
those are covered.
Okay. And I'm assuming probation
Your
has
thoughts,
been
Russell?
budgeted as well. Also, I have that on the pending list.
Okay.
I would have to think that, first of all, because we're talking about a whole bunch of different departments here, and where is those department heads' feelings toward that? Because you know what? They're going to be a big player in everything that happens.
Yep, agreed.
And so, and I know sometimes how it's suggested by some companies, this should be changed, this should be changed. Well, sometimes there's somebody that is very comfortable and it's acceptable to our system, so they don't want to change anything. And I would not try to force a change then.
And that's why I would suggest if they're suggesting 2, we do it in 3, just to get that.
The department head input on it is the big thing.
It's ultimately their decision, but the card, or I guess the continuity we have to try to maintain is if we can't keep things in a line, eventually things don't work anymore. So, obviously, if you still had a Windows 3.1 computer, you wouldn't be able to communicate with the network we've created, correct?
And that department head probably would have problems and probably would be,
Forced to do so.
yeah, would do something and it'd be taken care of.
Can I ask a question? What is it, Michael, that's not going to be supported in 2020 Windows?
In 2020, Microsoft, a number of their operating systems, there's a life cycle to their software. So in 2020, Windows 7 will stop to get updates, just like Windows XP
Right.
stopped getting updates.
And how long do
a
you
couple
think the
years
lag is on that, to where you could run,
ago.
well, you can still run after that, but
Exactly. You could you could run Windows 3.1 right now, and it runs, and but there's disadvantage to it. So technically, you can still run Windows 7 past that date. Microsoft might extend their support. You know, it's really up to them.
it'll still work with firewalls and all that
Still work
stuff.
with the firewalls.
Would you
What-
not get updates?
what
There
you'll
would be
s-
no updates?
What we are expecting is Microsoft won't give you any updates. So let's say if there's a bug for Windows 10 that comes out, and it's a bug where hackers can take that computer and put malware on there or steal data. When they fix in Windows 10, but stop fixing in Windows 7, then all the hackers know, well, if there's a Windows 7 system sitting out there that I can get my hands onto, I can now attack it because it's not getting the same updates as the Windows 10 version. So it makes it more vulnerable. But again, it's behind a firewall. We recommend updating it, but you have to take additional security measures to keep it more protected from the internet if you continue to run it past the expiration date.
And Windows 10 is okay?
Windows
still?
10 is good for 2025, I
Okay,
believe.
and then is there something newer?
Not yet, but
Okay.
probably will.
They will.
I didn't know if I...
That's how
That's how they
if
make
there was
money.
something I
That's
wasn't
how it goes,
aware
yeah.
of yet, so.
But yeah, Windows 7, and as we mentioned, some of the server versions are expiring too. Another big thing for expiration is email. The email server version that you guys are running right now expires in 2020 along with Windows 7. So it's one of those, every 8-year expiration dates that forces us to either update the software and or hardware. So you guys, like with, for example, the state's attorney that gotten the new machines, those had Windows 7 on them. They were purchased roughly 5 years ago. You would love to see hardware replaced every 3 years, but they pushed it to 5 years, but that kind of coincided with this 2020 coming up. So that kind of hit a sweet spot for them where they were able to get more life out of their hardware and then also update to Windows 10 before 2020.
The other thing I'd like to clarify though is on the system's expense, if we put money back onto that line, whose systems? I mean, obviously,
Right, and that's what I don't know
Right.
that.
I mean, technically that should be systems for IT.
Because state's attorneys, they
They-
paid
yeah.
for their own.
Assessment?
Health department paid for their own. But then this covers finance and IT.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't remember if we had something going with assessment to where it was something with the GIS or why we would get his computers. You know, Lisa?
I don't. I know most of ours will be able to be covered by our automation funds.
I'll ask Bob.
So you get Bob in here and
Yeah,
ask
see if he'll
Go
come.
get 'em.
Yeah, let's. You agree with that, Russell? I mean,
Well, yeah, I'd want to get
he doesn't
Bob's
have,
opinion
does he have an
on it.
automation fund?
I was looking to see if I got any notes
Think he
because,
does.
seems to me,
I thought
Bombay,
we considered GIS, that's not really automation fund, is it?
Could be
No.
eventually if we sell its services.
I'm gonna get, the combined
Yeah.
IT.
I think he still has to use his GIS money to pay for the system, right? It's not completely paid off yet?
Correct.
And the system, would that be the server?
That
or
GIS,
GIS
Yeah.
software and server?
yeah.
See, we could actually start selling layers of that and everything else.
Mhm.
It's a pretty cool.
That's,
Bob, we need a refresher on the IT portion. In Anita's absence here. In 18, it's slated for assessment 7 computers.
Yeah.
And why were we putting your computers in the IT?
Because I don't have a automation fund.
Okay, that's why then.
right, yeah, I guess the other departments got their own automation fund, so.
So she always,
I mean,
she always budgeted through her department because of that.
Someday we, if the GIS would ever,
Well, it's paid
Extra.
for now, so it's gonna start generating
some,
income, so whenever you, then obviously that'd be something you probably could justify being purchased out of GIS, but it's in a negative
so
balance right now.
when will that start going positive?
Now, it could by the end of the year be really close to being even.
So you think we should for 19? He's gonna get these done in 18 though. Can't get those done in 18.
It's budgeted,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So I'd prefer to get them done, and then when going forward, we won't have an issue with my department. All that, I mean, that's just the hard drives. We buy our own monitors and stuff out of my own
towers.
expense, just for the tower.
Perfect.
So is Bob supposed to make an appointment then with Area Wide and then they come and do all of them at one day or something, or how is it supposed to work?
it depends on how many computers can be down at one time.
I mean, we can't put them all down at the same day, because we got people who still want
Right.
information and
So
stuff, but,
maybe do half one day and
Sure.
half the other day.
yeah.
That should be coordinated through Amanda.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's gotta be done on your computer, if we do an update in there, as it pertains to DevNet too, or is that?
No.
moot?
DevNet's just
It's all web-based.
it's all web-based, and you guys, and Amanda does the updates on DevNet at a regular basis, so we don't even see it, it's behind the scenes.
Expenses there.
And then, Bruce Harris, the GIS is web-based, so,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just a question of keeping up to date on the hard drives. But that's why I need to always budget it through finance, because I didn't have an automation fund.
Okay, perfect, that's all we need.
All right.
Thanks, Bob. And then the other, question as it pertains to the budget is the surplus of the department head salary, where's that shifting to?
It's just there right now.
So I guess that probably needs to be reviewed with finance, but part of that, in my mind, if we spend a small percentage on that with Area Wide to help us with some of this, maybe some of the chores Anita was actually, doing on this, she was doing a lot, I will tell you that. But maybe we could shift some of that responsibility and pay to have some of this done. Just a suggestion there. And then I guess we need to arm wrestle with finance over where that money ends up. long-term?
The department head salary obviously depends a large part on when the replacement comes into being, or how that's handled.
Right, I missed that search committee, but I can't help to think that however this election ends up too, the person that would reside in the Treasury Department, if they had a different skill set, it might make a difference on what, could happen anywhere.
Well, that's a possibility. There's a lot of issues associated with it, though, that have to be examined also.
I'll make a note.
When the search committee met last Thursday, they selected four candidates to be interviewed, or five? Five. They're going to schedule for interviews. I don't have an update on when the interviews are going to take place, but hopefully pretty quick here.
Take the total and put it down and continue it for right now. Contingent. See if that gets anybody's attention.
And I'm curious with the search committee, is that for having a one-for-one replacement for Anita's role, or separate it in the different job descriptions for one role?
I think it's a little early to tell there, but
We're still depends on the interviews.
Right, and that's what I was saying. So if somebody with an accounting degree gets elected into the Treasurer's Department, maybe it's better if that, person has more HR skills or some other skill set that complements the two, get more for less. Just my thoughts.
That's a good thought, but one of the issues is that it takes a lot of control away from the county board. And that's a decision that has to be made. Do you want to do that or not?
We didn't have that position 5-6 years ago.
I understand.
It's one of the better moves we made, I believe. So back to the worksheet. You get a copy of the expense one now. Where do we need to?
So systems expense, software contracts and licenses, and service contracts.
so we're looking at 3 line items.
Well,
I'm not sure what contingent was for, but those were the three that...
service contracts are area-wide, correct?
Correct. That's what the computers were for. And then your software.
So why on that contracts? Why did we have a forecast of 89,000? It was only 45.
That's just how the reporting comes out. Year to date, for June, it was at that.
I'm sorry, we're not through that all the way yet.
Right.
Oh, that's a lot of money. There's no way you can get that reduced for us.
That's all.
Tell these
the
people we're
service
only paying them
contracts.
half.
So it was 88,000 a year.
$89,000 is the forecast. It's probably right because we're at 45,000 now, and we're halfway home.
If we could break it down, I can look at it.
I mean, is there negotiating that can be done with that?
We'd have to look at all the service contracts that the 89 involved, and yeah, we can look at it.
After the meeting, I can get you a report.
Yeah, because I know there's firewalls, there's antivirus.
Is there any legal service we can do with you that, for so much reduction, we give you so much money or something? I don't know.
Yeah, no, we can definitely look at it.
I mean, $90,000, that's for nothing.
Well,
That's nothing.
well,
That wasn't very nice.
Again, I would have to see exactly all it was, but yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's money for nothing in my book, all those licenses. What's DevNet? That's a big one, right?
Is DevNet included in that?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
DevNet support.
Okay.
How much is that one in the block there?
Last year it was $23,250.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over here in the corner, there's a breakdown.
They're essential though.
I know.
Not nothing, it's
It's
essential.
money for nothing.
Troy is not happy.
Nobody's breaking rocks to get that 23,000, let's put it that way.
Well, when you look at,
Avila's
that amount
87.
from last year and then the years before, it's a huge difference.
Keeps climbing.
Well, yeah, and they're gonna continue to do that too. That's how they make their money.
They're breaking digital rocks, not real rocks.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I would sooner pay area-wide more and pay these people less.
Mm.
You're working for the money, they're collecting money for fees, support.
Yeah. Well, DevNet provides software updates, provides software support, provides the ability to use their software, so I
Right.
don't know any way to get around that.
No.
But,
And same with the bill, I can't call you for payroll assistance.
Right,
So we
right.
have to have that.
They're, DevNet is the one that everyone uses, so I don't know if there's something out there that's more cost-effective, but,
No, you can't change that one.
yeah.
That's it. We've been there.
So that's probably not gonna change, but I could be happy to look at the other items.
Actually, to be honest with you, on that DevNet, we probably need to review that again and push the envelope. So it, the whole idea behind that was we were gonna be online at some point to where you can go, I've tried to do it here, you can't look up everything, but it's better. You can look up a property, PIN number, taxes, but you can't get the overlay of the house or something. Technically, we know we're doing it right when an appraiser doesn't have to come in here anymore. When he can do it from his office, then we're done. But I don't think we're there yet.
I think they provide that service, but it's pretty costly to get all those property record cards.
Entered in. Are they still pulling cards when the appraisers come? I don't appraise anymore,
I don't know how they do it.
probably.
Sure.
So let's set a few of these numbers. So do we need to do office expense too? Going from the
No,
top down?
office expense, no.
Okay.
You just need to start at systems expense, and then there's really just three: systems, software, and service. The systems expense, since we're buying those this year, you can leave that minimal just in case something happens. I don't know with
Well,
the
if you-
laptop, I don't know what the life cycle of that laptop was.
I'm just going from the trend. We need to put at least on that systems expense
About
10 in there, but are we due for any switches and things like that are
For next year, we're
hardware-wise?
hardware-wise, some storage would be nice next year on the server array, and also one other thing, hardware-wise for the servers would be backup space. You guys have a very low amount of backup space.
So if you had to put a general number on that, what do you...
For backup space,
Yep.
we do top number 15,000,
Oh, man. Okay.
and the storage top number 25,000. That's hardware costs.
Let's plug in half of that.
Those are top numbers.
My vote's still 20.
yeah.
Either you two have 2 cents to put in there.
Which one you on?
Systems expense, so that would be
Yeah.
expenses to the IT.
Infrastructure.
Let's assume physical Good, so let's assume Bob's stuff will be covered this year in finance, so that's out, it's for only 19. I mean, eventually, we should start seeing a trend where we can, peak shave that thing and load it level 15,000 a year or something, but we've kind of went up and down. 15 was 16,000.
So 20,000?
That's my vote, 20. I don't want to kick the can down the road. I'm a lame
We
duck.
can start with 20, I'm sure finance will look at it. Being consistent, the 15 probably does look a little closer, but again, there's so much jockeying going on by the big vendors that are basically, they control you. And when you add that with the bad guys out there,
So, put 20 in there. Next one,
Software.
contracts.
oh, that's the next one.
Yeah, I ain't too sure why that jumped so much this year. I can't. Well, actually, we're. Basically, we just loaded it. Showing we're over budget already on that. In the forecast, budgeted 53 and forecasting 88.
Why are we so far over?
Well, and that's it, because right now it's showing us 44 now. Oh, okay, and then we had this other stuff pending. Service contracts.
I mean, the service contract is area-wide, that's the 25. 2.
I don't have that projected.
So the next
Okay.
two are service contracts, so those two lines, 6550 or 65575. Okay, if you look on the 2018 worksheet and you look at the budgeted amount of $53,000,
53s.
53,625. Then if you go down underneath there, it's the same GL account, 65550, budget to 2018 variance. That's in addition. So we've got another 23,455. And then if you look at the very bottom line, a year ago, we were budgeting $15,000 towards cybersecurity projects this year.
And that's in the contingent, 15,000?
And we're going to keep doing that. So, I'll ask area-wide, do you know, can you help us set that number then, that 53,625 from last year? Do you know what that's going to be?
I can help get that number for you.
Okay, let's have area-wide get that.
And that's for the software contracts.
Yep. then what we'll do, John, is we'll talk to finance, and any variance that we see from us having to use them to do some of this work for us, whatever gap there is between that department head salary hire, we could use some, tap into those funds. I mean, we're using for the same thing.
That doesn't explain why it was so much higher this year than what we were forecast to be.
Well, if you look down there, on that bottom of that sheet, that's the same GL number. 2017 budget, 2018 variance. So is that add-on
The $24,000.
$24,000 in the very bottom?
Yeah, still we're looking at 77. So
Well, that comes close.
yeah, so we're still 10 grand off from the forecast.
But
So I think we're missing something else here too. In that forecast. So, you know, one thing about it,
you're saying that the 95-75 is unnecessary for the coming year? Am I looking at that right? It says unnecessary due to the DR project, so, I mean, this is accounting for the variance this year, but we're not gonna have that in the coming year, is that right?
No, because we still need unnecessary due to DR project. Does Michael have a copy of this? Maybe he can decipher this for us.
yeah, you know what? That is starting to make a little sense.
We did the DR project, what was it, last year?
Yeah, which was the virtual host email exchange.
So
Backup
possibly
server.
she budgeted some money this
It's on
year,
the bottom
but
left.
didn't happen.
So on the very bottom left, how many of those would continue on?
Gotcha.
So there's 10 grand that looks like to be removed.
So she's saying these costs are unnecessary due to the DR project that was completed. The small ones are the... So what this might be is they moved some old servers to the other building as part of the DR project. If it's the case where this equipment, these are the expenses for support for that equipment over there, she might be saying that they don't want to be supported any longer because it's just a backup equipment. It's not production live equipment. I would have to check those notes to see if that was true.
Okay.
So if that's true, then,
Yeah, that
then
would
you
make
wouldn't
sense.
need to back up the equipment it's just over there in case something goes wrong. I mean, you can do support on it, but you don't necessarily have to because it's not in use.
Okay, and
So maybe that's what those notes are
I
about.
think where the confusion is coming in, the 65, 55 were hung up on the year-to-date actual and the forecast is 89,000. That's because a lot of those are one-time pays and they're earlier in the year and we're over the hump. That's, I'm pretty sure that's what we're
Okay, and then the
seeing.
forecast, if it automatically is put in.
It's doubling it or whatever months
Yeah,
are left.
right,
That's
so-
what the problem is. We can stop panicking now.
Yeah, yeah. If
That's
that's an automatic fee based off of how much time's left.
Yes. I'd say those are one-time pays, most of them. So, I guess what we still have to determine is
What number to put in there?
what number to put in there, but the good news is that really was trending upward, peaked in 17, and it's less in 18, and that's due to what she's taken out down there, I believe, so I'm assuming that's why we went 10 less. But how do we know what to put in there for 19? Personally, I'd like to put in the same and then knock 10,000 off that thing somehow.
Put 45 in it right now?
No, because it's kind of a fixed
Oh,
cost.
okay.
That has to be negotiated to get that out.
You're not,
So-
these numbers up here, you're not taking any out of these.
Correct. So
That's
53, 625
Okay,
is probably par.
yeah.
But then down here,
Are any of
she's
these
saying
go- are any of
13
those-
more.
Are any of these gonna increase?
Yeah. So
Well,
just,
that's why I'm saying we need to have area-wide go beat them up and then make them decrease.
Well, that's fine.
Hey, we do it all the time at work. We go back and negotiate every one of those till the money's out.
just like the
You
garbage
got a
company.
sledgehammer, Michael?
And we'll start beating things. Like I said, I would sooner pay humans than these big software conglomerates.
I don't have a problem with that, but it's just,
But as far as setting the budget, it looks like it's 53,625 plus the two on the bottom we can't get rid of, which total 13,000. That's how I'm reading that.
You know, but we need to look at the two items below that aren't a part of the unnecessary. One's the WUS support and one's the email archive. Those are the two you're talking about.
yeah.
So email archive is
That's a
something
project.
that Anita was considering. So if you guys, that's not necessarily a software contract, that's a project that you guys either approve or don't approve. And then the WUS support I'd have to double check my notes on that, but that's pretty much a project too.
She's putting them under that same GL code.
Yep.
So, and I'm assuming if they're in there, like that email archive project, there was there's some underlying reasons we're doing that. Obviously, if you archive the old emails, you're probably going to save on storage somewhere.
Archiving would be, I believe, and she also mentioned archiving.
And we're required by law to keep emails for a certain period of time.
The archiving project would be for compliance. So being able to have a copy of the emails on a separate server to be able to pull for compliance sake. It would be separate from running your email or maintaining your email. It's mainly a compliance project.
And then the WSUS or whatever,
Yeah.
what is, explain that.
WUS is for Windows updates, and I would have to check my notes on that.
Okay, my memory, if it serves me correct, we decided some time ago that whatever automation there plus area-wide actually, you trigger those, right? Or you watch those?
Well, I'll have to check my notes because you guys already have patch management to do workstation and server updates. That's what WUS does as well. So I'm going to have to check to see what this
If
is
we even need it at
exactly
this point.
and see why it was there. Because you have both patch management and WUS, so I'd have to check the notes and see why we have two of the same thing there.
That WUS is a 3-year pricing, so it's only 1/3 of the amount she's got listed there anyway, I think.
So you pay it once for 3 years, yeah.
So maybe it's covered.
But I'm curious what the notes are for that project because, like I said, you already have patch management in the software contracts.
Okay, so should we just put the 53,625 in there? Or is there anything we need to do? So,
unless you want to put increase it for potential projects that we want to do.
I'd like to put those somewhere else because
I would too.
I personally think that in that 65,550 GL account should only be licensed.
Should be reoccurring every year.
Right.
So we can track the expense.
If you start putting projects in there, then that number's going to change every year.
I'm assuming her thoughts behind that were any projects that were put in there were to reduce that amount.
And that might be the WUS then, because if you do WUS, then you wouldn't do the patch management.
So is there any reason for us to think these numbers should go up in the box?
For the software contracts, like anything, it can go up. I see warranties and software support go up, just like your rent or taxes go up. But in significant numbers, no, that should be about right. So you do expect warranty prices and software contracts to go up in general.
I mean, that debt, that's $500 a week.
Yep.
Chunk of change.
One thing we didn't talk about down here is down at the bottom, we have the contingent line, you know, if we put the 53,625 up here, if there is a significant change, and if we leave the contingent the way it is, that would allow us to incorporate some of that, would it not?
We need to do the cyber stuff. It's almost like we need now that Anita's not here managing some of this, we need like a project line where all it is the projects. Then we can kind of control this a little better. Because technically...
Originally that was what we had in the contingent line,
Right.
was it, for projects?
No, that contingency should be over/under for, like if we miss or we forget a license.
No, but I mean, when we established it, I thought that it was
Well, it's because we knew we had to do it.
Some project.
But right now, you know, as of the last few meetings, we agreed we were going to start this cyber, we were going to start launching some of these. I know that's one of the reasons Lisa's in here, right? She's sweating it a little bit. So I think we should leave that 53,625 the same,
Okay.
Me too.
and then it's almost like we need another line in there for computer or IT projects. It'd be easier to manage because it's different than maintenance and repairs.
You could put the projects under systems expense, like server projects,
Yeah.
services projects. Those, for the most part, would be server related.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Our total, do we have a rundown of our total projects we believe we're going to complete in 19?
I emailed you that list of projects that are recommended for next year. In addition to the projects, we talked about the security awareness training program and the rebuild of the website. The training program is just a purchase, not technically a project. The website would be a project for rebuilding the website. And then we have other recommendations for next year as well.
I believe both of those projects will probably be able to be paid from the grant money.
That's the expectation.
How much was the grant?
Don't know yet.
I don't know.
We don't know how much, and we don't know exactly what it could be used for.
Or
See,
how
that
it's
makes a
gonna be
difference.
divided.
And that really makes a difference what we plug in here.
We should know soon, but
When's this have to be done, the worksheet? When's our final?
Finance is Thursday. But,
Traditionally, finance needs to act in September for 30 days laying on the
Right.
table to take it down to the wire
Well, it's
for
really
a
kind of
approval
simple.
by the 1st of
It's really
November.
kind of simple when you think about this. So, we need to keep it flat. In any of these hiccups and stuff, we need to take out of the difference of that department head salary for whatever period of time
Yeah.
it's not being used.
Yeah, as far as just for our budgetary issues, I think the numbers should stay the same, or close to it at this point, because we have no idea. There's just so many things that,
If we would add anything, well, no, we can say the grant's gonna X out the cyber,
well, and it might X out,
more than that.
50% of it, it might.
All right, let's
Yeah.
leave them flat.
That's just one department's been hit. There's going to be some other departments, I got a feeling in the next couple of years, going to see some problems. Because, yeah, the bad guys find a way in, even to the people that take care of the bad guys.
So,
Apparently, they have nothing better to do.
So let's leave it the same, 53,625. And then the next one is service contracts, which we've got plugged in at 25,200.
And that's our support.
Right, so in her absence, I say if we look back and you look at the trend, as we got better, that number got lowered because
As we fix more and more
Fix
things.
more and more, and as
keep on
Anita-
top of
Yeah.
repairs and maintenance, that number goes down.
so we were at 37, 35, 39, 17, and then back up to 30, and then back down to 25.
30 was the budget for last year.
Last year. So my suggestion, in Anita's absence, we get that line item, we change from 25,200 to,
25,200 was the budget for 2018.
yeah, so I think it's gonna have to go up because we're gonna need more support in her absence. So I'm gonna say at least 3,200, another 5,000 in there. How much more do you think it'll take, Russ?
It doesn't say how we're doing for this year.
Yeah, so far year to date,
11.
you're at 11,088.
Okay.
Yeah, ongoing per trend is 18,000 last year, and
But now we don't have an IT department head, so I'm wanting to move at least 1,000 a month into that. Of course, this is 19, so.
it's a good guess.
I mean, for sure, are we hiring this person for,
Oh, no, they're not sure about it.
they're not sure?
Mhm.
Okay. Then I think we should up that number
They,
I
$5,000.
don't think you can be sure of anything until you actually do it, so
Yeah.
even then, there might be some question, but...
they received some resumes and they're reviewing them.
So that has a big effect on that number. Where do you think it should be?
Leave it-
25,200 for this year,
If you feel comfortable with the 30, let's put 30 in there for now.
3,200,
32.
$30,200.
You know, all these numbers are early in the game, and what was that? Oh, service contracts.
30,200, not 32,000.
Let me see if I can get this to match everybody else's.
30200.
So is that the last one?
Yes, and then contingent, if you want to leave contingent the same.
Just leave it alone.
Okay.
that contingent's, whether we get into trouble and need more of them, or if Lisa's grant doesn't turn out, etc. So is that enough on that one? So then, more business. Those. Recommendation. And then I think that one other thing, some of the bigger hitters that they're suggesting on here, that's if there's money from that department head salary void, we should look to finance to see if that can't be utilized for some of that.
And I would put the Microsoft updates as the high priority.
Yeah, if you had to rank these in order of importance.
I would rank them from top to bottom roughly. So the security awareness training, rebuild the website, those are important for the cybersecurity. Next, for importance of security, is getting those servers, email, and workstations, and the workstations get replaced throughout the year, next year as well. Getting those replaced before 2020 is the priority. And then after that, our backups, getting more space to retain more backups for the county. Power protection, the UPS protections for the servers, and then after that, hardware replacement for the storage of the servers, the SAN. I didn't do that on purpose, but...
So it really looks to me like you got 25, let's just say there's $40,000 in hardware there, because what I'm thinking is, well, then you add that, some of that, the security awareness training, but the computer upgrades, those should get taken care of within the department. So
exactly, yeah.
over a period of time, we just have to make sure that the timelines.
Yeah, it looks like their hardware is expiring pretty close to 2020, so that's going pretty well. Unless there's a brand new workstation with Windows 7, we might have to purchase software, but again, that would be through the department to get their upgraded to Windows 10. In the security awareness training, we just took 25 users there. You have a lot more than that, but we can do that as a staged build out as well to put the users on there that are more important.
Oh, help yourself. Russ, it's almost like we need to take that whole difference in wages that we're not having to pay out this year and put them in the contingency line. I mean, maybe I'll just call finance and see prior to their meeting and see how they want us to handle that.
To work on these security upgrades.
Yeah, but there's also some, there's $40,000 of hardware for next year that should be looked at, or at least half of it. And that, let's say we do that backup, how long is that going to last us? Before that comes up again?
5 years, recommended.
So we'll have space.
And then, depending on how long that goes, how long you can stretch it. Before you have to replace hardware again.
And another question I have for you before I forget, it doesn't pertain to that, but on countywide emails, is there, who sets the rules on those as far as the sizes and stuff?
The IT IT department does, aka the board, and then we can make those changes as needed. But there should be a default storage amount for all the users, and then we make exceptions as requested. If a department head has a lot of emails and they need additional space.
Like assessment with large files, probably.
Right, then we make an exception for them. But most people, I would say, maybe have, I would have to check, but it's either like 500 megs or 1 gigabyte per mailbox. And then the heads or special exclusions can have as much as they want, as much as the servers can handle. So
I'll give you an example, Lisa, how this happens at our work. We run out of space. So the production control manager makes a production schedule every morning in Excel. And when we first started sending that out, it was about 1 megabyte, and it went to 30 people. Now the thing is 45 megabytes, and she's still copying. Now she's copying 40 people instead of 30, whatever it was. And I have an unlimited mailbox. So pretty soon my emails start slowing down. I'm not getting all my stuff. Well, it was gigabytes that had to be erased off there of just wasted space.
yeah.
So she should have been converting those to a PDF or some small file and then sending them, because 90% of the people don't need to use the working file. They just need to see it.
Yeah.
But that's just how it gets out of control, because nobody was watching it.
Yep.
So the next thing, IT guys buying terabytes of storage. It was all.
Yeah. How things are used impacts the hardware, and impacts backups, impacts everything that gets copied over to the DR site.
So we put standard
it's all
limitations on the mail.
It's all a big system. So yeah.
I think most of our people are 1 megabyte, and then it won't send the attachment. It'll send a message.
And increases performance, saves on costs. Yeah.
So there's other ways we can do this too. I have some customers that if you try sending them something over a meg, it'll reject it. But if you put the word, you put a keyword in the subject line, and then it'll go through.
Yeah.
So the reject message will tell you the customer's mailbox will not accept emails larger than X unless you put this word into the subject line, and then it will take it.
Yeah.
Just keeps them from getting garbage.
Yeah, and if we're talking internal emails, you train the users to use the network folders instead of emailing
Drop 'em.
files.
Yeah.
Or if you're emailing out to clients or having emails come in, do some kind of cloud shared file option that's secure, so you're not actually emailing the files. So there's a lot of things.
Are you doing that?
I don't even know what that is.
So in your
There's a lot of
department, do you have a common drive where everybody can access it?
On like a
Do we?
H drive or J drive?
G drive, always have a G drive.
I know.
So what we're saying is, like, most of your stuff is probably kept in emails, and you keep a little bit of a record that
on your
way.
desktop.
On your desktop. But like in your department could be H, and you have a separate drive where if you wanted Brianna to look at this huge folder, or you're working on a project together, you would dump it into this folder, and then she can work out of the same folder.
Well, we're networked.
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
kind of, but what it's doing there is just eliminate, so 2 copies don't exist somewhere. There's just a lot of things we've got to make sure that's happening now.
Yep.
I don't even know how to do that, so.
I know. Well, then you have to set it up. You might have folders you want nobody in your department to be able to get in but you.
Yeah.
And it's not that you have to type
I
the
don't
password
know
in.
offhand. You might be doing that, and I don't know offhand if you do. I'd have to check.
So these are things that maybe we can have area-wide, make sweeps through here.
Yep.
And like I said, that department head salary, we can
And that's something that
retain a portion of that
I'm
for
just
that.
Yeah, that's something I'm assuming that Nita was doing, but,
It will save us a lot of money in the long run.
but it's something it's maintenance and training, and something that the IT head usually does, and that's something that we can do as well.
No, we weren't getting any training on anything, that's
No.
for sure.
Right.
But there's just protocols that were going on behind the scenes that nobody knows.
Yep, and we can make sure they're out in the front,
Keep going.
Yeah.
make sure everyone knows about them and utilize them to the
That's
fullest
right.
potential. Yep.
So where do we leave this? Do I actually need to go to the finance meeting, you think?
No, it's basically budgeted, but yeah,
We've got to
Yeah,
earmark
and,
some stuff here,
yeah,
so it's not, if we don't earmark it, I think it'll be gone. Put it all in contingent. That department head, that's not even on the worksheet.
No.
I've already taken it away. I'm just trying to get the point across that in her absence, there are things we're gonna have to cover, and we can do that with money, just reassign it.
and not knowing where they're going. You know, yeah, I think we'll plug in those three numbers dealing directly with IT, and I think the finance people will.
So you wanna put these three numbers into that systems expense right now?
Well, I thought we should be starting on those now because we got,
I mean, it's just the budget worksheet, let's put them in there. So you got, if you take the middle on all those, it's 12.5, 15, 30, well, that's could be a way to go down here. 12.5. It's $40,000. So that system's expense, let's raise it to 40. Then at least we know where they came from.
okay.
So you're gonna go up to 60?
No, because the stuff above there, well, let's go to 45 so we pick up that security awareness. Because that stuff above that, I think
Security awareness.
the departments,
Security awareness would be 18,000, what the numbers he's got here.
yeah, but we've got some grant money coming towards cybersecurity, we just don't know what it is, correct? And then those big hitters there in the first one, those can be done by automation funds. And those are computers, those aren't, projects. So I'm just saying there's 40,000 here, and you could say 5,000 of that we could budget, the rest could be grant money.
It'd be amazing if the grants went to some of the server updates. Who knows?
Right, that'd be huge too. We just don't know, right?
Yeah, just don't know. Originally, we were
What
kind
do you
of led
say?
to believe that all counties would be getting the same amount because we all have the same needs. It wouldn't be based on,
Kappa?
right, on actually voter registration. But they sent us a SurveyMonkey survey a couple days ago, and it said someplace in there, if you were to receive grant money based on your voter registration numbers.
Well,
So-
you're never gonna compete with the big machine
Oh,
on that.
no, not at all. So I don't know how, it's gonna be. It asked us to, rank what we would want to do with the money, in order, and basically I have what Michael has, but I had put equipment, new website and training, as our top needs. I don't know why, for some reason in my mind, I've got like 20,000 floating around in there. I really don't know if
Perfect.
that's a real number, or if
That's
I drew
perfect.
that, or what, but.
That covers us. We put in
I could
5.
be way off. But I think it'll be a decent amount, I really do.
So,
What do you think? Where are you guys voting? I'm still gonna stay at 45.
You wanna go to 45 total for the systems expense?
And that's 40 for here, and 5,000 for up there, just, worksheet numbers, and then, when you look, and hopefully if that is, you said 18,000, then some of that grant money will pick that up, and then all this Microsoft upgrading and stuff, I'm assuming the departments can handle that on their own over a period of we got 2.5 years left, or no, 1.5. Well, it won't be at January 1st, well, it could be.
January 2020, not necessarily the 1st, but in January. So, but again, like you said,
They're not gonna stop running.
they're not going to stop running. It's just we might have to take extra security precautions.
I mean, obviously, we wanna be realistic with the numbers, but it's better to be high rather than low. And if the finance,
Well-
and if we find through the finance committee that we have to make cuts or whatever, well, that's what we have to do.
Well,
Depends on how much money is there.
like I said, I think we should just fight to retain a flat line, and whatever void is in that salary that remains in 18, which has to be 7 months, we want to leave that in IT to be used while in her absence in some of these projects, because for lack of better words, nobody's going to be minding the store. Less what Amanda's learned she does a good job, what she's learned from the whole thing, but
There's a lot of questions about that part of it. I mean, for one thing, if somebody gets hired right away, then it's not 7 months.
that's fine.
I don't
see
know
it.
if the number that
We
you
don't
guys
know.
are kicking around now has anything to do with, I guess what I was gonna say is, we're 90 days out of an election, and I would like to see the one project, and I don't know if that's in your budgeting that you're talking about, is the training.
Training
Because
module.
that's the number one way that would-be hackers get in, is through phishing and
so there's-
that kind of stuff. If we could do that right away, I mean, everything takes so long to happen, we need this to happen before the election, if possible.
So there's 15,000 in the contingency for that. It's for cyber security issues.
I mean, we're gonna get money. Can we get this scheduled and,
Make a motion, Russ.
okay,
Move to start the process.
it's really vital, it's good for everybody, you know.
And so this is just in your office, this training?
No, this would be for everyone, because
Well,
we're,
it depends. Do you want to do just a couple
Phases?
You could do 5 people, you could do 100 people.
Well,
It's really up to
it
how
sounds
much
like-
you want to.
Well, for sure, it should be everybody in
Everything
that
as
clerk's
far as
office.
elections is going to be in your office.
we know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's everybody else that I'm kind of worried about, but
Oh.
everybody could slip up and accidentally open.
You guys are all in the same building,
Oh, that's
so
right.
if someone
That's right.
clicks on the email over here,
Correct,
it
that's
could,
what I'm saying,
it
is
could-
that everybody needs to know how important,
but if there was a reason not to do everyone at a time, at least doing a partial amount is better than nothing.
what's the, I mean, do you have a cost? Did you bring an estimate on that?
It was, for 25 users, it's 700 a year.
Is what?
That's 700 a year for 25 users.
$700?
Comes out to $18,000.
$700.
Comes out to $18,000.
She was
I
asking
feel like
about the
every
And there's a
county
total-
employee should be,
There's a total of,
I don't know, we have
115?
to-
115 users, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'd have to do that.
So roughly times 4.
The $199 setup fee, that's just a flat $199.
Right, that doesn't matter how many you guys
How many people?
have.
So it'd be the only one that multiplies a little over 4 times is the 713.
Yep.
So would it be, why did you put 25? Is it best to do them in blocks of 25?
I just threw a number out there. So
And this is online?
this is online, it's a cloud service, and that's why it's a yearly fee, and it's per user, so if you guys have more or less users, you can adjust it as needed. But basically, it'll send out test emails to county employees on a regular basis, and training emails. So it'll say, hey, remember that emails that look like this may be spam, or it might actually send them a spam email. And if they click on it, they'll say, well, you shouldn't have clicked here, and this is why you shouldn't have clicked here. And it's ongoing training, and also comes with videos and quizzes, little games for those who like those type of things.
And who has to manage that?
And all that's recorded. So if Bobby Joe is clicking on every single email that's sent out and not doing any of the training videos, you know there's a opportunity for...
It should be required.
So how do we know, how would we implement this throughout this facility?
So,
Is it something every person has to get a certificate for, like we do at work with forklifts?
Nope. They would have to sign in to the web page, so they'd have to get sign in with their county email and make up a password, and all the users would be able to access the training.
Does any of this fall under the policy and procedure handbook, you think? There was computer stuff in there at one time.
Yeah, we have,
An acceptable computer use policy, but I don't know about
This is
anything like this.
computer use policy.
Right, but that's the only thing that I can think of that would fall under that.
And
I'd say we're gonna have to put it on the department heads, and they just have to get everybody through the course.
yeah, again, it goes back to department heads.
So the bill would be by department heads too, so
yeah, we could break it down per user cost, and then...
the $199 is the whole thing.
Right, that's a one-time cost.
The bill it'll be paid for by I'm sure that the grant.
Oh, well, this one, now, I'm right, this is only $20, $30 a piece, right?
Roughly.
Roughly.
Yeah.
And we only got
But
100 employees.
hopefully, you'll use it for more than a year, and then those yearly costs would go back to the departments, and they would pay $30 a head every year for
So,
that.
again, how do we start the process? Is that something you guys have to help us
Tell it, we will, that's the $199, we'll
Okay.
get everything started and set up.
Make a motion to get it
We just
rolling?
need to get a green light and we'll get going.
We should have the money soon.
Well, we've got 15,000 in contingency we can
Yeah.
draw off of. That's for cybersecurity.
Language is to move the security awareness training programs
For all
Yep.
users.
For all users, and do it by department. Put something in there by department.
all users by department. So
All users as controlled by individual departments or something.
yeah, because you got department heads going to be the big player.
Accountability.
Yeah, because you got one that's got some big issues, but if everybody else don't play along, so
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
a hacker could come into your computer, was that hijacking? Hijack our entire network.
But, so
So you want
those
to-
those
So it's
reports can
final.
be generated
Go with
for
the
on the
security
language.
department.
I thought I had it
And
for
then
you.
all the departments
I
can
have-
be, a
I
report
have
can
that
be
you want to
generated
move
for
forward
the
with
IT
the security
committee.
awareness
So
training
if-
program
If
for all
they can
users
see
by
a
department.
department's not doing anything, then they can
Yes.
address
Okay.
that.
Yes, that'd be a good
department head.
So how do we notify, like the probation, how do they find out they're gonna do this? Who's gonna send
We'll take care of that.
Okay.
So we'll contact all departments head and say, we're gonna start emailing all the county staff the training, or test emails, and then if you want more access to do additional training for your employees, we can help you get that access. So the way I look at it is everyone's going to be getting these reminder emails, learning emails, test emails. That's going to be for all departments. And then if the department heads want to go in there and use the training material, that's up to them. If they want to use that resources for doing additional training, and we can help them. But that part is on them. All the automated emails would be sent to everyone, no matter what, and that's hopefully sounds good to you guys as well.
It does, and I don't think...
they don't have a choice, basically.
If it's $28 a head, the money it could say, that the risk it could mitigate is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Chairman, the language of this motion, could we have Amanda read it back before we...
To move forward with the security awareness training program for all users by department.
think that language is appropriate in the motion?
You second that, John?
That's what I was wanting to do.
Okay, good. Now we can talk about it.
Now we can talk about it. And there's silence.
Yeah.
Well, as far, the question came up about how all the departments going to know about it.
Yeah.
I think that
Yep.
Michael can disseminate that
Yeah.
information, but
Yeah,
obviously this has to be approved at the board
He
meeting
can make
anyway, and that
make them bang on everybody's
publishes a
drum.
lot of it to the departments too, especially the ones that attend the board meetings. You know, when the full board meets, a number of the department heads are there. But I imagine Amanda can send an email out to all the department heads to notify them of the action too after the board meeting.
And we'll be sending an email out to them as well.
All in favor?
I
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Did we want to address the website rebuild today, or wait?
Is that this other one?
That's other.
No, this is this is the other one. This is a switch.
Yeah, that's hardware
Website's on
support.
the email, right here.
That's the other one.
If you guys wanted to purchase that.
You don't have a price here on rebuilding the website, do you?
No, that'll be a process to see what it would entail to rebuild the website. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. So we can move to start getting
How much work would you have to
pricing.
put into that?
For the rebuild.
Yeah, is there
or to
expense
get-
to us on that? Is it a deep dive or
No, we'll
just
do
an
a
estimate first?
We'll do a quick estimate. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll probably have to work.
You want to move to get that done, started?
To get an estimate?
To get estimate.
Or
I
a
don't know if
request
we
for a
need-
proposal?
Request for
Request for proposal. Formal proposal.
And it's possible that a website rebuild might not be through us as well. There might be a local website designer that you might make more sense to go through.
Who did ours, the current one? Who's doing it?
No, it's
Webfoot.
It's antiquated.
a webfoot.
Webfoot.
And they're local here.
You told us that was the best one when we hooked up with it.
KKK, I think.
It was. It probably was. But what we typically see is that you'll find a local website designer. It doesn't have to be local, but a lot of people do like the taking the opportunity to go local. And then we can either help with hosting or help with anything along that process. So I don't know who, since Anita's not here, who should take the reins on that. I mean, we can, but we don't typically go out looking for website designers. That's usually something that's done internally.
Maybe it isn't anything we have to do immediately. Maybe when we get a replacement for Anita and see where we're at with
Yeah.
all these things, we can address it then.
Well, let's get the proposal so we can plug that in possibly.
There's a couple issues with the current website, and not only is it a cybersecurity issue because...
There's multiple things that the website
It also, we're not able to, and I am not an IT person, so I don't even know how to say this. We're not able to put large files on there. When we look at our...
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
And it's not, I don't believe that it's designed very user-friendly, honestly. You really have to look around a lot to find certain things, and I'd like to see a more user, you kind of agree with me there, Amanda?
Yes.
More user-friendly design. And of course, the security on it needs to be, because you did tell me we had been hacked through our website, right?
Yep.
So,
Yes, I have a lot of people that call looking for things on the website, and I have to walk them through several steps to show them where things are.
exactly.
But yeah, usually, we can do those things, but, you know, that's not our, expertise.
Okay.
For what you guys are looking for, so.
Well, I don't know if, does it say Webfoot?
Webfoot.
And I believe they're out of Kankakee, and that's who did this one.
A while
Would we
back.
want them to do the same, want them to do it again when we
Well,
don't really like what they've done?
Well, when did they do it?
Yeah.
I don't remember when they.
1985.
Was it?
Yeah, it seems to me it's really antiquated.
So it's not necessarily they did a bad job. We're looking at it now, today.
I think it's been since we formed an IT committee.
Well, we had one, and it wasn't very good, right, Amanda? And then we
Well, that
got-
was with Tom, yeah, it was just...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's
Tom,
right, that's
old
what it
school.
was with
I
Tom.
think Tom created
So
that.
so, gosh, how long's Tom been gone?
And that was just an informative, that wasn't an interactive website, that was just like,
Just
rent the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one is interactive, you know, they can go on, they can download forms and things like that, but it's still, it's hard to find those said forms.
Yes.
So,
Well, here's my suggestion, I would
We
say
can find
I
some
would
people
say
to
there's
recommend.
county website designers,
Mhm.
there's a lot of counties, and like I said, eventually we have to lean towards this, like Lisa's saying, with this downloading, because in my mind, I know it's right when an appraiser can get in there and get everything he needs without walking in this office, because I know Kankakee's been that way for over 5 years. They're all done with theirs.
yeah, and that is part of the problem, because, you can only put a file on there that's so big.
And that's due to where the website's being hosted and how the website's
I mean,
designed.
technically, you should
So with a new website build, you would have those things built into it.
technically you should be able to look up your own property record card and
We
boom.
can't even put the tax computation sheets on there.
Too
you
big.
know, which would, because they're too big. That would be really nice to be able to put those on there.
How long does it take you to post your election results?
And we can only put election results, we can't put them by precinct. So they go on just fine, what we use, but we'd like to be able to put them on by precinct too, because then we get a lot of phone calls, and then we have to, email and stuff like that, so. But that's one of the big issues in the cybersecurity talks about election-wise. They're probably not going to be able to change our actual results of our election, but
Here's
they're
what-
going to be able to change the look of it. They
Here's what we
get on
can
our
do.
website and change numbers.
You're going to get us a proposal, right?
Well, the proposal probably should be going through the website developers.
Well, then what we should probably do is go to surrounding counties. Isn't the designer on the bottom?
Well, we either can check their websites or give them a call. Like you said, Kankakee has got a website that does what we want. Let's give them a call and see who put it together. And then that company can provide some estimates there.
And maybe we could wait for that, project until the position is replaced. I didn't think that it would be, that would be something that would be a quick.
No, this won't be quick.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It has to be running, that can be running in the background with or without a department head or whatever.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a while.
I think the key is getting a hold of 2 or 3 companies that have experience making county websites with the components that you guys are looking for and getting quotes from them. Because we'll be happy to help with hosting or DNS or all those fancy things.
Okay,
but-
whatever, Michael.
but-
I don't even know.
The back systems of a web page.
Okay,
But I think looking for a website company that's worked with the counties would be a lot better fit than having us try to provide a solution for you.
Okay. that's a lot more than I knew when I came in here, so.
There you go. Do you want me to check around with other counties, or should someone else? Amanda, did you want to do that?
Dan's got quite a bit on her plate, so maybe that's not
If
really
you
my
could,
decision.
if
but-
you could.
How about I'll try to find some things and I
Okay.
can forward it to you,
That'd be
Amanda, and then if you need more help past that, just let me
Okay.
know.
So these remaining 2 emails here with the switch and the sonic wall for the highway department, do we need to make a motion in this meeting to pay those, or?
So the switch,
Yes.
that is next day support on that particular switch in case it goes down. That is one switch, I believe that switch is a 911 switch. They have 2 right now. They have redundant switch, so that is that one. And what was the other one, Sonic Wall?
For highway.
That was probably from Jeff, because I don't remember. Oh, from Jeff. Yep, I totally recommend the Sonic Wall. This keeps the Sonic Wall up to date and keeps all the security software up to date on the firewall.
And is that falling into our box?
And it probably falls into the box. I would say that.
It's just stuff she was doing.
It should be in that box. The switch is
Where's the highway
is
expense?
a recent purchase, so the switch probably wasn't in the budget.
Yeah, can we kick that over there? Is that something we have to maintain for highway because they're remote? Does that matter, or is it virtual? I don't know. What?
Who pays for it,
Yeah,
or
why couldn't I make Joel pay for that?
I don't see why they wouldn't pay for it, because it's for their access to your network, unless it was assumed.
They got money.
Send it there.
You know,
Right, Russell?
Send it there.
unless it was assumed to be a part of the IT
You wanna see
systems.
this?
I think I got a copy of it. No, this is done.
But
Make a motion.
that's hardware that highway needs, highway work. So
So the whole cost is $400?
that's it would be a service contract, yearly
So we
contract
Annual
can
service
approve for them
Yep.
to,
for that hardware.
The switch.
So
Or
it's
this
hardware
is for the
support.
service contract.
right, so I don't have the invoices yet because they haven't done the work. So we just need
You
to,
know what?
for either of these.
There's no invoices for these, so we would have to make this happen.
No invoices.
The work hasn't been done yet.
Hmm.
This is just letting us know that these items need to be done.
Okay.
So we could cure some of
And
this
Joel
by...
has a copy of this.
No, I brought that here
Okay.
because
Okay.
I don't know anything about either,
Okay.
so I wanted the
I think what
committee to
she's
look
trying
at
to
it,
say,
know-
Russ, is since the work hasn't been done, we could route it that way from the start, and then the invoice will go to the right person, and we'll avoid all the confusion.
Send it over to highway for their meeting on Friday.
Tell them they have to get that going, or they won't have a firewall.
Are both of those for highway?
Highway's sitting right there.
No, just one.
What's the other one?
The other one's for here.
Two.
That
Okay.
one's for us.
Yeah.
One's for 911 and one's
Well,
for
the same thing
highway.
there, do we need to tell
Does the
911?
911 pay for
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, that is for 911 switch. If you want them to pay for it, then that'd be a question to ask.
Same thing, send
We don't need 24-hour
it to 911.
instantaneous, I mean, they're the ones that need instant recovery, right?
That should be the 911 board when they be,
Biggest security issue.
How do we get that there, Amanda?
I would, once I get the invoice, pass it could just forward it to Eric.
Can we just invoice them?
Well, all invoices come to me,
Gotcha.
and then if they go to a certain department, I forward it on.
Gotcha. Well, that solves that. That was easy.
We like the easy ones.
Yeah,
So we can go ahead and have them,
rerouted. Damn, start
or
them.
start these, okay.
Or do they need to initiate it? Do you need to push that into their court? Maybe you send them the email, say,
If you want, we can send those.
no, Amanda should
Should
forward them, and
those
then
emails,
so you
yeah.
get something back.
Yep.
So it's kind of a purchase order type arrangement then. So she doesn't, it's not on her then.
Mhm.
Yeah. So do we get all the IT issues? So I've got on my homework to talk to finance and get on the websites of surrounding counties to see who's got the best one.
Amanda, if you could send me email approving the security training for all the users, and I'll get that purchase started and
Okay.
get that started.
What counties do you guys manage?
We also manage Vermilion County.
How are they doing?
Good. We don't.
Are we ahead of them?
We don't
can
do
talk.
the same thing. We'll talk enough, Mike. No, they do well. So
reason I say
everyone
that-
does it differently.
When I was still doing residential appraisals,
Mhm.
if you can believe this, Lisa, in that office in Vermilion County, which is got a big city in it, it'd be like me walking in there and just start going through the files.
Mhm.
It's unbelievable. I mean, at least they have, somebody goes and gets the file, gets it out, copy it, you put it back. It's a free-for-all. You just go in there and start digging through.
Wow,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you never find anything the next time you go looking.
right?
If they
If
don't
he's
put-
been
if
in
they
there.
don't put it back.
Right.
All the P-tax files were just, they're supposed to be by date, and actual day. Well, after 8 appraisers have been in there, there's not, some of them are missing. Wasn't good.
Sounds like work.
So you're saying they're coming along electronically?
Mhm. Yep. Everyone is. Everyone's going paperless.
Okay, you don't have to tell us what they're doing, but where are we at?
No, I mean,
Where are we at on
not
this
just
scale?
Vermilion County, all our
Right,
clients that we're
compared,
working with.
where are we at on a scale of 1 to 10?
You're, for moving in the right direction, you guys are definitely moving in the right direction.
We over 5?
You just gotta have a number.
Man,
gotta-
you want something, I'm not gonna give you a number.
That's
need
what,
to
I
know.
usually feel like we're about.
He said a number, he said 4.
Yeah, I heard 4.
Was you requesting a quote?
But no, you guys are definitely doing well. So, some of the keys are, making sure your endpoints are protected, your servers and workstations, making sure that you have good backups, going digital, and making sure you have the hardware to support that.
I always just think you're safe if you can kind of run in the middle, somewhere. You don't need to spend all your money on IT. You don't want to be in the back. At work, I tell the supervisors it's like wildebeest. You want to be in the middle because the first ones are going to get eaten by the alligators, crocodiles, and the last ones are going to get eaten by lions. Stay in the middle.
If you're at a 10, you're spending tons of money on security and high technology. If you're a 1, you're spending tons of money on fixing problems and getting hacked by hackers and things like that.
I still think you guys
And then-
employ hackers and you're doing that.
Then you gotta look at the other side too, you gotta look at their so-called budget and what they're spending and where it's coming from and what other type of cooperation from other sources, and I mean, there's a whole bunch to it. So when you start ranking,
They're letting viruses go.
Had one more
Yep.
little thing that I want. Being part of that Cyber Navigator program, is one of the requirements to get the money. there's gonna be like 5 or 6 criteria, which they don't seem too impossible, but a couple of them are, it's gonna be like a comprehensive risk assessment of our infrastructure.
You
And I'm
guys-
assuming they'll have to work
You
with
guys do
you
that?
on that?
You guys do that?
We do that?
You did one last year,
Okay.
and,
We got the documents.
I was gonna say, so
We paid for
there's
it.
some way that you can show that, to prove that to the State Board of Elections?
Mm-hmm.
And- Okay, and then I think that we're gonna, one of the things is, our voter registration system connection to the State Board of Elections voter registration system is gonna have to go to Illinois Century Network. What you know about that?
that connection has to go through Illinois.
Yeah.
I'd have to get
Am I
more.
saying that right? Illinois Century Network?
Yep, no, that's a government, network in Illinois, and, we'd have to see what they exactly mean by routing that traffic.
And I'm not
through there.
sure, I'm assuming, I mean, if it's got something to do with IT, that might
Mhm.
require your involvement as well. And then, well, the third thing was the training we got down covered, so,
So, in some places, they're an internet company, they provide internet for schools and,
right,
and
that's what I
organizations, and they
was under the
provide us.
impression it was sort of like a different kind of internet provider, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be more secure?
Well, they have
Well,
some,
I
they have
guess that's why
different,
they're doing it.
they have different security than
Right.
others, yeah.
So,
Have to do an education.
So are you going to need support from them to get the things for the grant?
in some
at
ways,
some
yeah.
point.
You know, some of the things that,
When's that due?
we don't even know yet. We
They haven't asked for anything, they haven't
No.
put a deadline.
No, they haven't really, they
They're
just
just
had the
talking.
second of the 2 required meetings on like August 2nd or something like that. But, I mean, obviously, like I said, we're 90 days out from the election, and they would surely want us to get started on some of this stuff so that,
Yeah, no, all I've
You
seen
know, I
when
should
reading through the notes is, here's some good ideas,
Yeah.
here's some good recommendations for security.
but
I
it's
don't see anywhere they say, we want to see a county do X, Y, and Z, or we need this to get the grant.
But I believe that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Because it's absolutely, the one thing I do know is no participation in the cyber navigation program, no money. So we're gonna participate.
We just need
It's
to
a-
know what they
Right, we just don't
need
know exactly what we have to do yet.
to be considered participation.
But I've kept Michael kind of apprised of the situation when I get stuff from the state board, I send it on to him. Just more fun reading, but, and you're aware of all of it already anyway, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can get her all the documentation she would need for her grant request.
Yep, yeah, we can help with
Okay,
that.
And that gives
that's
you
great.
more
Yeah, it makes everyone
financial
happy.
security.
Makes the world go around.
That sound good?
Any other new business to come before the committee? That was old business. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor to adjourn. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Amazing. Everybody